fighting to get out of relegation, and it doesn't make any sense. Here we are, into the ban and pick here for Gen G versus DWG Gaming and Jace. Will still be the first ban.
I know what you did. I was listening to that last. It's pick and ban, Atlas. We always called it pick and ban. I'm not interested in this argument.
Ban and
I'm
pick.
not interested.
What happens
Listen
first?
to your papa.
What happens?
Now let's zoom into what's happening first in this particular game.
I'm telling on you. I'm telling LS on you, Papa Smithy.
Well, that's it later in the week. No problem. I'll say things in the Twitch chat that day. Now, remember, in solo queue, Cuvée is spamming Kale and Hecarim.
Yes.
So those are new age picks. We haven't seen the newfangled picks today. All the hipsters are waiting to come out and say, I played this before.
Well,
you know who
that first
doesn't
series,
play
you
it,
don't need to worry. Yeah, Silas, no one gets to play it.
No.
That's 3 out of 3 bans so far on 9.6.
So remember, LeBonkers is available. Kale is going to be banned in the first round.
Yes!
Holy crap, that's a lot of respect in a pro game.
Yeah, that's real exciting. Now does Gen G just lock in Nico? Just
Where is
don't be scared.
I feel like Ryan should show us an LS cam, and he's just like the most depressed. First pick Morgana.
This is Fly's Morgana.
Yes, most likely. Now, Life could play it as well, but very conspicuously first picking Morgana. Does make you think it's mid lane Morgana. Wasn't nerfed on patch 9.6, so a real chance this will be happening out.
Incredibly safe as well. There's no way that you can really counterpick on Morgana unless you play something that's very early game.
So much open right now when it comes to tier lists.
Rek'Sai got a bit of a nerf, but not too much.
Almost a love tap, right? It's a bit of AD ratio. Yes, she doesn't have the amazing AD ratio she did before, but she's still very, very reliable. Now, this is interesting. We're claiming Tahm Kench very early. They're saying, all right, we see Morgana. We're thinking mid lane. We're thinking pick comp. Let's go for a Tahm Kench.
And then you pick Zac into the Tahm Kench, which is what Gen G are thinking.
This is some RNG-esque drafts here.
Oh, man, that's
Why don't we just
really
lock
dangerous.
in that blind vein now and just go full scaling?
The blind Kai'Sa. Blind Kai'Sa would be so Gen G right
couple.
now. Oh. Well, Peanut is thinking against it as the J4 is going to come out. Some of his best performances, even in losing games, have been that one. There's the Nico that we mentioned before. No reason not to pick it here. A flex pick between Ruler and Cuvée. Most likely going into the hands of Cuvée.
Well, the attack speed rebuff, you do wonder if this would be in service of a tricky Hecarim pick later in the draft. Now, picking Hecarim on blue side against Noguri sounds like the worst ever because he'll just play a ranged matchup and crush you. His laning phase is pretty outstanding. And speaking of range matchups, we have no idea who's playing Noguri or Showmaker on this Rise. I feel like Noguri is the better Rise player, but Showmaker is good on it as well. So given that,
He's a fan of Fly's LeBlanc, and that LeBlanc picture was incredible.
It was almost airbrushed, and it was a drawing.
That's just crazy. Well, Vayne's going to be banned, so Gen G are going to miss out on their favorite combo.
Undefeated.
So, Papa, another thing that we need to mention is the fact that Morgana Nico is everyone's favorite bottom lane duo for the Nico.
That is true. There is a chance we've seen this in the bot lane. The LeBlanc is being banned, so they're saying, what about mid lane Morgana? Even though Morgana...
And Gen G banning the LeBlanc is the other crazy thing.
That's the thing, is you would expect the team to ban LeBlanc to be DWG Gaming if you're going to ban a LeBlanc at all, because Morgana famously was that pick into Faker's LeBlanc in 2015 MSI. A lot of different machinations going on, and they actually banned the scaling and the early game option from the 80 carry role. I wonder if it's just Lucian for Nuclear in the next round.
Or they're just banning the last two champions that Ruler played, just to make sure that he has to dig a little bit deeper as the Ashe Tahm Kench is going to come out. Bit of a shout out there to Gen G.
We got a Rotato comp on the side of DWG Gaming, right? It's Ashe Tahm Kench. It's Rek'Sai, the strongest blind pick jungler.
And they're setting themselves up for the most incredible 4-1 possibility if Noguri can get either on his Rise in a good matchup or with that counter pick and give Showmaker the Rise.
Now, a lot of options. Lucian Braum is up if you want to go.
Confirmed mid lane Morgana.
That is true. We know that one. As of now, mid lane Morgana, as you were suspicious of, Atlas, I feel like Jinx was a possibility.
Oh, just do it, Ruler. Don't be scared.
They noticed Lucian Braum was up. They're going to Lucian Braum, I'm sorry to say. I didn't want to bait you there. It was always going to be Lucian Braum. They noticed it was up.
Oh, come on, Showmaker.
Showmaker is so overdue for a Katarina game.
He really, really is.
What's the matchup? So Morgana doesn't apply a lot of pressure, so you can do a lot of different things.
And also, you can't interrupt the ultimate with the Q. You need to wait for the proc of the ultimate, but he... As far as making us feel sad is concerned, I think Corki makes us feel the most sad. Unless he locks in the good skin.
It actually undoes a lot of what their comp is about also, because their front line here is a lot more conditional. Warrior Rek'Sai, Tahm Kench Rise, not a true front line. So you do worry this will lead to a Griffin-esque situation where Chovy had all of the items but just couldn't do damage in team fights with no front line. So this was a really nice invitation for the Katarina in a game that has no stakes at all for DWG Gaming, and sadly, they went the way of Corki. So yes, I don't know if the Corki skin's available on the PTR, or in the tournament realm, I should say. I hope it is.
Yeah, and like, but it's like they show us the prime rib and then say, just kidding, canned spaghetti. Like, it just feels so bad.
Yeah, it's not even mum spaghetti. It's canned spaghetti.
No,
it's not what you want.
Mum spaghetti's great.
I know.
I'd take that. That's like, that's like if we got a Yasuo in the mid lane. You know, that'd feel fun. That'd feel fun.
The Gragas Yasuo phase is over, Atlas.
Yeah, but we got Rek'Sai Yasuo possibilities. It's a theory that we could have had. I really love the composition out of Gen G, though, as we have a look at it. Nico, J4, Morgana, and the Lucian Braum on the bottom side of the map. This will fit in very similarly to their Vayne composition, but spike a little bit early with the Lucian having a lot of early power.
They want to push everywhere. If they can get away with it.
Yeah, and priority in lanes is certainly something they got.
But you consider that, yes, you like Nico just whacking away at Ryze. What if Rek'Sai shows up? Reliable gank there and potential to start the snowball on a ultra comfortable champion. And top lane is definitely early game where you want to go as Canyon.
Yeah, exactly. And we have to remember as well, when Cuvée managed to take down Sword in that very historic Griffin series, it was against Ryze back-to-back as the Nico. See whether he can do it again here in Game 1 against DWG Gaming.
That's how you know it was live. They actually fired off the W there. Yeah, showing that there's no ruses going on here. Fly's got a new pick. He's going to show off the Glacial Augment Morgana, you will notice.
Better be the Super Soaker Morgana first item.
Twin Shadows would be pretty fun as well.
Yeah, you can build both. That's how the Glacial Augment Ahri works. You just build as many activatable items as possible that slow people down.
This is a very fun game because Gen G have a comp where if they have map control, you have to face check one of Jarvan, Morgana, and Braum. That sounds really sad.
Yeah.
And it's a squishy lineup inside of DWG. However, DWG also have a tempo draft. They got Tahm Kench Ashe. If they can get out of laning phase, they can roll mid lane. They also have the Rek'Sai Tremor Sense and the Realm Warp. Here are the runes for good old Morgana. You'll notice actually approach velocity is taken in
that makes some sense.
The utility tree. Of course, it's all about crowd controlled champions, and you know what? Both these teams have a lot of crowd control, so I feel like the value here are going to be nice and high.
Absolutely. So Fly hasn't taken the mini dematerializer, so it feels like he doesn't need it. As Ryze has taken the Comet. That's scary. That's Noguri wanting to play pretty aggressive.
Second time we've seen Noguri take Comet in what is traditionally a pretty hard matchup for a Ryze. I forget the original matchup, but we see it here in the Nico matchup. Like you mentioned, it's press the attack on hit Nico, who just wants to hit Ryze with impunity. However, it's Noguri's Ryze, and watch this guy in the laning phase. You'll be able to appreciate why he is revered as a laning player. However, watch him in the mid game, and sometimes the brain fades and what can actually help the enemy snowball. Peanut not going to actually gank the Ryze, but will give some coverage for Cuvée.
And also won't have Punch here as well. I think that's one of the main things, is the fact that Punch did offer a bit of that veterancy to Noguri as well, and it's Canyon, who's also a rookie here for DWG Gaming. He's on Vision now as he picks up the Rift Scuttler, but yes, Noguri's laning phase is certainly to be feared, but in comparison to Cuvée versus Sword, this is Cuvée with an extra 1% on the base attack speed. So he got a little bit of a buff moving into his matchup against Noguri on a very similar Ryze.
Definitely feeling good about that if you are the on-hit Nico player. It's definitely been a sometimes champion. I feel like Cuvée has, of course, been the big star of this top lane Nico and has been returning to it wherever possible.
Yeah.
Cuvée in his heyday was able to draw bans on picks other people weren't playing at the time, so trying to justify that here, and like we understood, if he's just there hitting Ryze and there's minions in front of him, he's going to win the damage trade handedly.
Exactly. Getting the passive shot and press the attack fully stacked up there. Noguri does have to be a little bit careful. Does have himself the refillable potion.
There is the mechanic where, as a W max Nico, you can use your clone to eat overloads and not take damage trades.
Yep. That
other champions will be forced to opt into, so for now at least, health-wise, you are very, very healthy as Cuvée. Potential to bait out the W quite easily, though, if Rek'Sai's topside.
And also you're very squishy, so if Noguri gets that Flash Rune Prison in there, then Canyon can follow up with his knock-up after a burrow, and it can just be disaster. So where he's going to be is actually going to be important. It's Ruler going aggressive onto Nuclear, almost gets the stun, but not quite. I don't think Ruler was expecting Life to land that Winter's Bite.
Some fancy auto attack cancels there as well. Always nice to see.
Yep, skating around here on the Lucian.
Different look for Ruler. He has played some Lucian this season, but often he was on the Kai'Sa duty to open up the season recently. Been playing a bevy of different picks, but he's undefeated on Vayne, banned away this game. We know about the gank gank pause you can take as a Rek'Sai, Shaco inspired. Is this particular side not going to probably see a W used quite freely here, and Cuvee actually sniffs it out.
Yeah, that gank sense is just stunning from Cuvee.
What's the only way I can die? He's wondering as the wave was being frozen, so actually pretty next level. Top laner sense is intact for Cuvee.
Yep, fantastic stuff. Just showing his veterancy there. Understands that it's not a time to walk up to the minion wave, and he's going to freely farm out all of these creeps underneath the turret. Will actually have himself a little bit of a CS advantage. Nogari's going to go back home, does have his Lost Chapter already completed, not decided to go for any tier early on, wants to have as much power as possible, as Nuclear takes a big trade there with the Brilliance Pursuit. Life uses a very aggressive Unbreakable to try and win out the trade.
Always fun to see people playing out lanes a bit different. We know how the Neeko versus the Ryze should go, but then, like you say, you go for immediate power, just like a lot of the buys changed when we had a lot of mages in the bot lane when it came to what items can you rush and get away with in a laning phase. Tier Ezreal became Sheen Ezreal most of the time for a long time in that particular meta, so understand, of course, the Lost Chapter coming in. Infernal Drake is the first spawn here. You can control bot side, Lucian, Braum, Morgana. You feel like Gen G have the first argument for Drakes to be started, but for now at least, with the ability to use Tremor Sense and also the Hawk Shot, no freebies available for Gen G.
Well, now Nogari has that first back. Cuvee hasn't teleported. Nogari didn't have to either, which is why he's keeping Cuvee in this lane.
Freezing the minion wave as well and forcing Neeko to walk up at times where Rek'Sai might be around.
Oh, they timed that
beautiful
perfectly.
Maybe even better than he realizes.
Yeah. And in fact, Cuvee, he's going to walk back and he thinks, oh man, I wish I could use it. But he doesn't actually have it available. He has a Peanut though. Peanut really battle warding. Fantastic play here.
No one died. No one even hit each other, but wasn't that a cool passive play where the exact timing, and then also Peanut coming up for that exact timing, and it ships in the night, but in the VOD review, both coaches look at that and they're like, good job, junglers. Like, that was really well played on both sides.
And actually, you know, something to talk about, you know, you'd be talking about a lull state at this point in the game, but that wasn't. That was potential action just mitigated beautifully by better heads-up play. And sometimes it's about what you don't do as much as what you do in the early stages of the game.
And also in this lull state, we can talk about how you just said doo-doo. It's very funny.
I didn't want to mention it because I didn't want to sound immature, but I thought it was hilarious.
You know,
sometimes you make mistakes and you just have to be about it, Pop Smithy.
Here's what I have learned, now ticking over to 32 years of age. Still really funny when someone says doo-doo.
Yeah.
Not so funny when you get turret dived by a Rek'Sai, but for now it's just a blue buff contest. Now, if Fly loses blue, we're going to lose a lot of lane control that Morgana is looking for. Scaling is a word we often investigate when no one's died in the first 7 minutes.
Yep.
It's actually a really tricky one to make equivalency with, you would say, but of course Corki will do so much damage compared to Morgana in the late game, but with no frontline, like Ryze is a kind of frontline. I don't think we're going to see, I mean, we got the longsword. It's going to be Warrior Rek'Sai. I feel like this game just snowballs really hard. So I kind of want to be results-oriented and say the team that starts winning continues winning. I feel like catch-up is really difficult between these two comps. So we're just kind of wading through and making doo-doo jokes until we see some action.
Well, Peanut has decided to go for the Cinderhulk Jarvan. That's often the option he likes to take. As Gen G are happy to play around Ruler in the late game, he's going to start up this Infernal Drake.
He gets
He has a bit of priority in the mid lane.
He knows the control ward was placed in the spot that's very hard to see unless you enter the pit. So he entered, at least the Drake, and then was like, oh crap, there's control ward defensively here. So that continues to delay the Infernal, and the freebie that Lucian Braum usually provides, i.e. the ability to sneak Drake, is going to be delayed until around the time that Rift Herald spawns.
Well, it's the blue buff contest here for Gen G that they're looking at. Not sure whether they got vision, but you can see Peanut just put down that ward around where Beryl is located, even if they can't see the actual blue buff itself.
It's a really fun control ward spot if you're playing solo queue because it's such a ruse. I know, and then the enemy's so tilted like, but my free Infernal, no!
Yeah. Doesn't give you river vision, but does spot out whenever anyone decides they want to go for the Drake.
Maybe not the best for the ocean, but when it's the Infernal, you always know that there is going to be a lot of incentive there. Look at how much damage these are on both sides, right?
Oh, and also Canyon. He's started off the blue buff, and he's going to have to wait so long Does have to smite it, and that just denies it from Showmaker. Just maybe some miscommunication between the new jungler as in comparison to Punch. That's really, really sad because the Corki wants to be able to spam spells on the minion wave.
Especially at this point in the game, right? You don't have the ability to rocket auto and get things down super quickly, so you need the blue buff to keep up with Fly more than before. Fly's blue buff wears off, and honestly, it probably won't end up being super conspicuous.
Showmaker mistimed the package delivery as well. That's why he just randomly Valkyried in the lane.
I was watching Sinodragon versus RNG, and Sinodragon's mid laner had one of the biggest special delivery moments I've seen in a long time.
Really?
It was a really awesome game one there where RNG ran Kale Vayne and Uzi's Vayne, right?
Uzi's
and
Vayne
lost out to a Corki.
Oh my goodness.
I know, it was actually a really awesome game. Definitely worth watching if you want something.
I actually missed out on that one.
It was a very fun one to watch, so I'm waiting to see if Showmaker can put in a big shift on the Corki. Again, we've been very unconvinced by Corki in Korea.
He's been so underwhelming in the LCK so far. Exactly right. Feels like no one could win on the champion.
You know, hoping there is finally the space to be able to pick up the Infernal, and with not having the blue buff transfer and all that, DWG Gaming has to check with their faces.
Yeah, and Ruler says you can have a culling, and Beryl's not going to be able to walk up to try and contest this one. Peanut actually did de-aggro the dragon, given the fact that Canyon was making his way around. Fly, though, is going to clear out the minion wave. Showmaker gets this control ward. An extra one is in the inventory of Fly, as they've been trading farm very evenly in the mid lane. But it's a bit of a wash. Corki and Morgana, I mean, they're pretty good when it comes to farming.
It is a really cool comp from Gen G because there is the soul.
A lot to like, man.
It's the spot. We'll hold the point now as the bind does hit there. I don't know if we're going to see action here because it's justified over a Rift Scuttle. They don't want Gen G to get at DWG because, of course, that gives them even more control around the Infernal.
Yeah.
But the Infernal has been delayed till after Rift Herald spawns. But the reason why I find it a fun comp, it doesn't have the cool new champions we were hoping to talk about. So my Blue Blades-esque terror about not getting to tell the fans about everything I've prepped for 9.6 is abated a little bit because think about the last time we saw the Nico X comps. They were Nico Vayne comps, and it was very much, this comp needs to stack Rage Blades, then they're strong. This time it's Lucian and the Nico, which means that Lucian, who has good burst, who bridges very well with Play the Rune King Black Cleaver, and Morgana, who of course, you know, has a stack of AP and does more front-loaded damage early than damage the late game, can actually allow QV to get a bit of time to both get a split push build going and also team fight and get ready in a fight. So they definitely warm up a bit differently. Life is going for a deep freeze here, but it seems like he'll get to be Mr. Freeze because no interruption by DWG.
Yeah, and actually, I liked the Gen G compositions with the Vayne Nico. I thought they were cool, they were creative. I like this one way more, Papa, for a whole lot of different reasons. And as a play-by-play, generally I look down a composition and I think, what are the ultimates of all of these champions? Because I have to yell skill names. And the idea of having Soul Shackles, Cataclysm, and the Pop Blossom all happen at the one time sounds like a one Gen G teamfight to me.
Because theoretically, in that time, you're using every Relentless Pursuit offensively because the amount of enemy movement agency there is so low. You're slowed, stunned, knocked up. You're just having a terrible time.
And if you're standing there, and the short range of DAMWON, apart from nuclear, is possibly going to be a huge deal in these late game fights. So Gen G do have a composition that has a lot of priority early, a lot of gank agency from a Jarvan early on, and then also transitions into a team fight that looks pretty good in the late game. I really like how this composition works from Gen G.
You still understand that if DWG Gaming gets a lead, they can map control, they can rotate first, they have a lot of pick CC, and Gen G are eminently squishy.
And they've got Hawkshot and Tremor Sense for spotting out any attempted Baron, so they barely even need to put vision around a Baron pit.
That's why when I kind of see what I catch when I'm doing the juggle of who takes it late game. That was a sniper fight. Joker would be proud of that one.
Yeah.
The only kind of interesting swing to me is what does QV versus Noguri look like if they hit their item timings at the same time? Because Ryze can get very oppressive in the 1v1. Nico should be too slippery, and he's going to build for lane only, right? With Rage Blade by the Ruin King. So because of that, we'll wait and get the full information there. I believe Canyon is spotted.
Oh yeah, there's a ward, and it's just outside of the range of that control ward. Man, if there was a ring of vision...
I know.
That's really silly as QV. Oh, he doesn't get it, but the Pop Blossom's going to come in. That will make sure that Canyon takes the ride out. But Peanut and Fly should be able to pick up the aggro onto this one, and you might just say that Cube missed all of his buttons, but honestly, I feel like he's picked up Shelly for the team.
It's very hard for either team to face check, but damn it,
there is a
interested.
package. There's a package from Showmaker. They are going to be able to pick up this Rift Herald as Cube uses his Shapeshifter, gets himself out of the way. Arrow is going to land, but that's a really great buffer of the Flag and Drag, and Gen G, they'll take Shelly and they'll leave.
A lot of posturing from DAMWON, but even with the package, I didn't think they would actually unleash the special delivery there. They're just going to pull back. Does mean another advantage in neutrals-wise in a game which we said should snowball the team with the early advantage. It may be a slight one, but slight lead again to the team of Gen G.
Yeah, and Showmaker's got a Trinity Force and only 18 stacks left on this Cull. He's really accelerated himself into this mid-game, but Gen G do have the slight advantage when it comes to the gold. Super second Stoker done for Fly in the mid lane as well, so that's going to be getting a lot of slows. Glacial Augment means that that extra little line of slowism that comes out of the Super Soaker is just so obnoxious, man.
And you know what else is obnoxious? How slow this early game has been, because
it's a Gen G game. Surely you were prepared.
We had one turret plate taken all game.
Feels like Gen G.
And if you're Showmaker, you say, ooh, my 3-item build will be online. And again, we've said with no reliable front line, it's hard to say what's that in service of, because we just saw Gen G take down a pretty damn fed Chovy Corki in that Griffin versus Gen G series because his front line was unreliable, and we're seeing that here again. Cuvée, power farming, I would imagine he has way the Rune King gold, but this is all about back time, as he does.
Yep. See whether Nogari's going to be able to punish him and get himself a better back timing, but you can see it's just trading with farm. And you have to say that that actually benefits Cuvée here, because Nogari's normally known for being a pressure point on the map for DAMWON Gaming that can work every single time. It hasn't necessarily been that here for DAMWON this game.
And Atlas, we have some time, so we can, probably quite a lot.
You want to talk about Doodoo again?
No.
Okay.
Get your mind out of the gutter. What I want to talk about is, what is the capital of the LoL state? Because we talk about this state all the time.
Adelaide.
Well, that's funnier than I expected, actually. I thought you were going to say Gen G, but...
just Adelaide.
Well,
that's an Australian joke, everyone.
We're definitely in Adelaide right now.
Yeah. Nuclear going to take a fair bit of damage there as Beryl spits him back out again. Actually, shout out to a few of my favorite casters of old for League of Legends that come from Adelaide.
No, I'm going to create some regional beef.
No? Oh, you going to do that?
Never be in the capital of the LoL state.
Oh, Ubershout's going to come get you, man. We've seen how much he goes to the gym.
He's a rival game broadcaster. We don't talk about him.
Hey, he started off as a League of Legends broadcaster, okay? As Shelly gets thrown down in the mid lane and Canyon almost dies on the bottom side of the map. Maybe we have to bring it away from this LoL state situation. That's a flash, but the Cataclysm will be the raise. Void Rush comes in. He even gets the heal, and Peanut! Oh no, does get the flash off, but Nuclear will be able to slow him down. The frost shot's enough. Almost gets the flag and drag in time, but it's not enough, and first blood goes to DAMWON against all odds.
Just like Graves years ago, close but no cigar for Peanut this time. He goes super deep, but it's Cinder Hulk Jarvan.
Yeah.
The damage isn't there, and a nice timing on that ultimate from the Tom Kench, and Peanut looking a bit silly.
Yep, that was the young man mechanics coming out of Canyon there as well. The timing on the Void Rush, just amazing. Made Peanut look silly. He's building towards a Gargoyle Stoneplate as item number 2. He's super defensive. As DAMWON, they don't care about this control ward. They know that Peanut's walking from base, and they'll grab a free Infernal Drake here.
And now you already know how this game looks in hindsight if it's a DAMWON victory. It's the fact that they delayed that first Infernal, that they picked up the second Infernal while Corki was getting going. Let's watch Peanut here and just understand his position, because he sees Canyon get cold, and he can just disengage, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's not going to be able to take over his jungle.
He saw the back.
He saw the back time. He's like, this is my time to shine. Unfortunately, would have 100% got the kill if it was Warrior Jarvan, which was the build for a lot of the season.
And also if Nuclear didn't have his heal available immediately.
Heal, stasis, a lot is used to keep him alive. But remember, it's first blood gold. It's not just 300 Gs, it's the bonus gold there as well.
And it's also Peanut off the map and a guaranteed Infernal Drake. That is so many snowball effects now in place for DAMWON Gaming. Next Drake will also be an Infernal. What
a surprising build path from Fly. He's gone for an early haunting, guys. In the build. The GOP, of course, makes sense, has the synergy with
I mean,
the
if
Glacial
you can guarantee
Augment.
people are going to be standing on the puddle, I mean, the Leandri's Torment does do a lot, given the fact that you also have Glacial Augment to get the slow for the extra damage.
Good hawk shot there. Means that DWG Gaming will walk up, but they don't know for sure. Peanuts around. I would say, as a counterpoint, there's not a lot of health stacking on the enemy team.
Yeah, that's true. Gobble up there onto the Ash. Beryl has great health. He'll be absolutely fine. And Canyon and Nuguri, they're looking for Peanut, and Canyon just kills him. I'm not even sure how he did that much damage that instantly, but that's just a very, very dead Nico on the top side.
Missing health damage and not much health to speak of. Is the interaction looking for there. Atlas Rage Rate going to be delayed when Wits End for the 2 laning opponents he'll have and just deleted by Canyon. Pleasant reminder that even after a ratio nerf, you do crazy damage with Rek'Sai.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And the insta-pop on the Void Rush just meant that Cube had absolutely no time to react and do anything. Could have flashed to maybe put the Rek'Sai underneath the turret after that, but also had the Burrow. It's 20 CS the advantage here for the Rise.
I'm going to raise my hand and say that we got the confirmation. Noguri, a better Rise top than Sword.
Yes.
Because, yes, he did get 1 gank, but he was just innately winning the matchup, and he's going for a Void Staff for matchup as well. That is a early Void Staff for a Rise.
That's a really early Void Staff.
But he just wants to kill Wits End Nico. This might be a Rise who can consistently 1v1 Nico.
And also, he knows that Peanut is also going full tank. He'll have a fair bit of magic resist after that. Gargoyle Stoneplate is completed. This actually does a lot for getting rid of the front line on the side of Gen G as well. I feel like it's multi-use there in the Void Staff as that steal was cubed by Canyon. Yep. Things are going worse and worse and then worse again for Gen G as this mid-game goes on.
And you can also point out the point where the game went from really in their hands to away from their hands out. Let's go to watch the replay. Let's watch this last bit of damage, see how much the ult did. The Realm Warp there amusingly took them way out. R did, yeah, it'll even be quite damage.
Yep, it did.
And there's Chilling Smite there as well.
Yep.
So those 2 things, explosive damage, I think they actually overkilled him by quite a lot.
The Pop Blossom didn't seem to do too much.
I don't think the shield actually armed. It
No,
didn't
it
reach
did
the
not.
ground.
It certainly didn't.
Well, that cooldown is short, so perhaps not going to be so big, but that's the answer to why he died so fast.
Well, Cuvée gets a ward, spots himself a Rek'Sai. As Noguri's going to make his way towards his bottom outer turret, we'll see whether Cuvée actually feels lucky, and he is going to stand around, pick up these minions. Not too worried about a dive at this stage. Does have Pop Blossom back available again.
In case you're wondering which Wits End we're at, it's still the old Wits End. There's not the new one that's been discussed when it comes to being able to heal off the proc damage. That's a 9.7, 9.8 thing. We're still on 9.6, so understandably, a whole lot of patches being thrown up in the air, and there's some ambiguity about where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah, we're at 9.6, everyone. I've intentionally tried to stay away from 9.7 as much as possible, even though I have spoiled myself on a few of the changes, just because I want to make sure I know exactly what's in the game of League of Legends that I'm commentating. It gets very, very confusing. As, thankfully, I have stayed relatively spoiler-free. I'm just excited about new Mordekaiser though, man.
You are, well, speaking of being excited,
that's an oof.
That was no ultimate required to just insanely murder Cuvée.
Yeah, I feel like
Cuvé's like, I bought a Negatron, but what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Why do I take 1 trillion damage from this guy? Well, maybe it's Soft Boots Void stuff that does that. Oh my god.
Just Nuguri things.
Do you know what Nuguri does on Rise as well? He farms way more than the minions on the map would suggest. On this Rise, the mid-game often a lot of the farm does go to Nuguri in side lanes, and he's continuing to do that right now. He's going to go back home. He's got an Oblivion Orb. Magic Resist doesn't do anything to this Rise.
I really hope they get value out of Flame and Noguri together, because you see why, in a perfect world, DWG Gaming would have been fielding Noguri all year, right? Because he's just so prodigiously talented in the 1v1. It's the map plays that really let him down, and the mentality, I think. So I hope there's some inspiration. And speaking of inspiration,
yeah, Teleport comes in from Fly as Beryl takes a fair bit of damage, but he's not going to die just yet. Nuclear looking for it. The Rek'Sai going to explode. The Devour's going to be in there, though. The Ignite, it's ticking down. Beryl's going to fall. Fly picks that one up, but that's only one to be lost here, and somehow Canyon survives.
Noguri doesn't join the fight. The Infernal is up, so there's actually quite a lot on the back end of this. Hard to say whether there was actually a time that he could find a meaningful teleport and not just arrive after the fight was over, but it will be a free Infernal to the side of Gen G.
Yep, they are going to be able to pick that one up for themselves. Fantastic for Gen G's composition that does feel good moving into the late game. I actually looked a bit incredulously at the screen right there as the Super Soaker came out from Fly, and Showmaker took about a third of his health in damage as he stood on the little slow field.
I missed that.
That was a lot of damage.
I didn't miss that there's more flat pen on Knockery.
Oh my goodness. Void Rush has a pretty long range, guys. This Cube-8 does actually get the extra movement speed, but Showmaker is going to be able to catch up. The flash comes in, but the Valkyrie, that's what that's for. Showmaker picks up that kill very easily against the split-pushing Nico.
No outplaying on that one. Didn't have to use a further summoner on Showmaker, able to pick up the kill. And now you might worry about both lane assignments. Wit's End will help against Corki to a point, but he has some physical damage in the kit. Let's think about, should Rise have teleported? The answer right now is no. And the question is, if he teleports on the ward to the right as Showmaker doesn't change anything, the answer is maybe. So at this point, you can definitely say yes, he doesn't crack the turret, but Nogari's call in the end is no.
Yeah, and I actually feel like DAMWON didn't want to re-engage just because Canyon was so incredibly low that it would have been basically a 4v5 regardless of whether Nogari had to come in.
I can take both counter-arguments, and at the end of the day, Nogari now has a 40 CS advantage, so what do they do with this teleport advantage?
Well, at the moment, they're going to move into the mid lane, and the outer turret should be falling down here. They've got a lot of turret damage if Showmaker can actually get in range. Nuclear going to be there as well. Alright, Binding has to be used. Sorry, the package has to be used to get out of the way of the Binding. That's fantastic news for Gen G.
I believe it was starting to time out. At the end of the day, you can buffer CC so reliably with the package that, because it always goes that fixed distance, then you're stunned at the end of it, that you're happy to walk up and get that auto. You don't want outer turret lasting forever. That's actually a conundrum Gen G have to deal with. If DWG Gaming hit the side lanes here, there may be a window to try to punish through mid.
Yep, Showmaker has a teleport. He's topside. He's going to be shoving that wave forward. Nogari goes back to his environment, which is a solo lane.
DWG Gaming's environment, let's remember, is 1-3-1 pretty comfortably here. Gen G want to play 4-1 where possible. They don't have a lot of range in their 3 compared to Ashe, Tahm Kench, and potentially more members than that. Rek'Sai also Tremor Sense, so it feels like the extra range on the Ashe and also the safety of Hawkshot, Tremor Sense, Tahm Kench means that you have the world's most impunity. You wonder how they could potentially be picked with that much defensive utility.
Yeah, it's real silly. So far, it's all about farm here for DWG Gaming. You can see in the mid lane, about 30 CS, similar margin, but higher on the top side of the map. And it's only Ruler that has the advantage. Name a more Gen G situation. I don't think there is one. However, it's the solo laners here for DWG that are really pushing them ahead further and further. It's close to a 4,000 gold lead. They have themselves an Infernal Drake, but the next one is going to be a Cloud, and Gen G picked up the first 2.
And let's not lose sight of the fact that with Nogari and Canyon, the young players who aren't known for their macro shot calling, they've gone for a 1-3-1 comp that's about playing the map, and they have a vision lead, as you can see. A vision disadvantage, as Gen G have the vision lead. So there's going to be some technical rotational plays that this lineup of DWG Gaming hasn't performed on in the past. So this is where they might trip themselves up because they need to be pretty delicate about their lane assignments.
Well, the other thing, like, I feel like they've picked a composition that does play into that very, very well because they have Tremor Sense, they have Hawkshot. If they're in a tricky situation, they're like, oops, we don't have wards. They've got a lot of different options when it comes to trying to mitigate that as an issue.
But if you use all those to catch up, is it enough? As Nuclear takes the damage.
Yeah, Feral's going to hold on as the ultimate does come out. Volley's going to do a fair bit there to life. The big one comes in from Showmaker. That's dangerous. Fly misses the Dark Binding as Peanut has to flag and drag his way out to safety. 80 carry life for support life is a trade that you'll take if you're DWG.
Just finish to your point, the issue is that those things should be the cherry on top of a pretty equal game, right? Because it's not much of a meaningful lead. And then you fight for Vision, and when Vision is exhausted on one side, you've also got utility.
Yeah, you got more answers.
But if you're using it to catch up, then suddenly you wonder if your one kind of serrated or sharp edge is dulled, and then it does become very much a coin flip game. And it feels like we're going to get to a territory where one team messes up and has like a gap in vision or is exhausted of vision, and then a Baron just kind of closes the game one way or the other. If you're DWG Gaming, a team that is trying to show they are going to be a force in playoffs, you have the counter argument of we're not playing for anything today, but you also, if you're Nogari and Canyon especially, are fighting for your spot, and that is not something to forget.
Well, DWG Gaming, you know how I like talking about item spikes, Papa Smithy? They have 2 pretty big ones at this point in the game.
Yeah.
Infinity Edge completed on both Nuclear and Showmaker at the same time. And both of these champions, it means everything.
2 items wise, when we had Play the Rowan King Black Cleaver and also the Leandries into Super Soaker, you were loving Gen Gs, but then IEs with Zeal item completions on both sides just can't be answered by an Infinity Edge on Ruler.
Nope, that's only 25% crit, and you're not exactly getting the extra boost that you need, having at least the Zeal.
Big issue for Gen G is that they can't play 4-1, they can't play 1-3-1 because QV can't deal with Rise. They've actually struggled to use the sort of lane assignments they would have expected because they played and won this matchup earlier.
Yeah.
And that is leaving them in a tricky spot. Look at Nogari. He's literally
He's level 17.
And he's at the inhibitor turret.
Oh my goodness. QV only level 15. He incidentally took half of his health bar and damage.
Run a Baron, baby.
They're feeling so much pressure that they are going to run at this Baron. Canyon does have control ward vision. And they're not actually going to try and take that one down. Canyon completely seen here. Looks like Peanut wants the 50-50. Don't have 2 smites. They don't have any unsealed spellbooks now available here for Gen G. Tower's taken on the bottom side. Nogari's just too strong. We're going for it. The Baron stolen from Canyon. Of course it is. Here for DWG Gaming. Cataclysm comes in. Canyon's punished, but he's already taken it. The heist was a success. And Gen G, tail between their legs, will try to get out.
Peanut might die incidentally in the back end here. Big
one.
Had
to flash the big one. My goodness.
This is the thing that has rewritten an otherwise super even game is Nogari's pressure. Showmaker's just interrupting every back. They're TPing back bot lane.
Yeah, Nogari's going to head down there and just try and take Nexus turrets.
Nogari's playing single player.
This is ridiculous.
Oh, he found his friends.
Yeah, he's found some people in the mid lane just because he's like, oh, I don't actually have an objective down here, my bad. And he is going to be able to take down this inhibitor turret alongside the rest of DWG Gaming. When it comes to making a call and it not working out, that's up there.
But you understand why they made the call.
It wasn't like they're just idiots. It's like, there's too much pressure, we need to relieve it somehow.
They weren't going to be able to teamfight because Nogari just mainlined his build for lane and smashed lane with nameplates on. This was the best of Nogari versus QV playing on a champion is practice in pro play and solo queue.
Smash Zordon 2 games in a row.
And that's
in that matchup.
Unfortunately, again, nameplates are the big thing there, and that means that Gen G have the option of losing the game in the Nogari lane or trying to win the game with a Baron that makes it so it doesn't matter how the 1v1 matchup goes. They YOLO Baron, as we called, and it goes the way of the young man once again. No longer is that Peanut, it is Canyon. In this day and age, the 17-year-old Jug King smites away the Baron, maybe smites away game 1 for Gen G.
Yeah, it's looking like it at this stage. You can see there's just so many minions killed on the side of DWG Gaming. They are ahead of the clock in 3 lanes, Papa Smithy. How does that even happen?
Well, what happens, Atlas, is that no assignments work.
Nogari might just kill Peanut here in this Cataclysm. Eventually flashes, wanted to actually kill him. The Overload didn't actually land as Canyon looking to do the wrap around.
There's so many meanwhiles.
Why are there so many members of DWG Gaming on this map? It feels like there's 9 people.
The full court press, perhaps never best summated than that action. Ruler's just trying to poke people and make them think. They're not thinking they're too hard, Atlas.
Nope. They're thinking this game's unfair. That they should actually have only 5 people here as Fly almost just killed in 1 rotation. Gen G make their way over. They're trying to do something. Ruler explodes. See you later, mate. That is just frustration coming in on the side of Gen G. The arrow lands. The Void rushes their nuclear. Grabs that kill as well. Life. He's underneath Nexus turrets, but it's not feeling very safe at this stage of the game. And Fly tried to press an ultimate button, but evaporates at the hands of DWG Gaming. They have so much damage. What is this party in the Fountainous Canyon? He's not even tanking the fountain just yet. How did they manage to keep everyone alive?
We left the silence there. They went in with all the minions. They end the game right there. The game best summated in half a damage rotation. Nogari killed Ruler from full health with heal up.
Yeah.
That is how much damage
the
Rise was
Overload
doing.
did half of his health bar.
The second one did the rest of it.
Yeah, oh my god.
Well, when Nogari and Canyon work, they really work, Atlas. You can see why. They're hoping for some upskilling in the macro. Because, man, did that game end.
And also, you remember how incredibly slow the early game was. I mean, we were talking about lull states and what they'd be called. I said doo-doo by accident. And then, all of a sudden, this game explodes way out of proportion. You have 30 CS leads, 50 CS leads over the clock for 3 members of DWG Gaming at the end of that match. Like, when it comes to an outperformance in solo lanes, right? This is almost solo performances based on what the composition that they had put together did. Oh my god. And it just happened so fast.
Meanwhile, those CS leads were not being countered elsewhere, so it was a lot of minions dying to touch. It's almost like there was a hunger strike going on, unfortunately, in this game, and that's because the lane where Nuggery was, no one wanted in there. There was the most Magic Pen you could ever imagine on a Rise build.
Second item Void Star.
If he could have built another item, it would have been another... he would have tried to find Magic Pen somewhere. Abyssal Mask just for the penetration would have been
maybe.
in this particular game. Nuggery, when he's good, he's real good. When he's bad, pretty bad. So that didn't happen in this particular game. And now, Gen G, who remember, really desperately had a lot to fight for here, kind of been just backhanded. This wasn't an open hand slap. This was a backhand.
That was a straight backhand. And that was like after they waited for a while. It's like the little kitten is like slapping the face of the golden retriever, and then the golden retriever finally decides that he wants the kitten to go away and hits her across the room. That's basically what happened. That's a fair bit of damage there. That's doing the math. It's a sad day for Cuvée.
That rhymed. Nicely done there, Atlas. Nicely done to DWG Gaming. When we went to the lull state and reached Adelaide, I couldn't have known it would go like this.
Things are going to get so exciting.
I couldn't have known.
Oh my goodness.
That was a Radelaide.
We must have gone to the wine country, because wine country in Adelaide, absolutely beautiful. That's why the lull state's so nice.
We're definitely going to get notes from the rifle broadcasters.
Yeah, we really are. And there's a lot of our friends from back in Australia in the commentary scene that are from Adelaide, so hopefully they're not too mean to us for being so mean to where they're from. And hopefully DWG isn't as mean to Gen G in game number 2. That's going to be coming up right after the break.